Yeah, Pallavi, Pallavi has joined. Rahul,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
please check whether Pallavi has joined.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I can see Pallavi ma'am in the list.
But why she is not listening? Because she has to start. Who is starting? Rahul,
So Pallavi Mami, once
phone
again.
करो उनको.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Whether she is unmuted.
Ma'am, we can't hear you, I guess, if your mic is on. Ma'am, can you rejoin?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Now you are audible. You can start.
Yes. Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, Dr. Nikhil Mariwala, sir. Welcome to our 5-day FDP, online FDP of Atal Engineering Optimization Techniques and its application. I would like to introduce Dr. Nikhil Mariwala, sir. He is working as an associate professor and head in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Institute of Engineering and Technology, Kurukshetra University. He has more than 18 years of experience in teaching UG and PG. He is having more than 31 students completed their MTech dissertation under his guidance. He is having more than 30 publications in international journals and 20 papers in national and international conferences. 6 patents are to his credit. Out of that, 4 are international patents. He is a reviewer of many reputed journals. He has delivered keynote address in more than 5 international conferences and 1 national conference. He has been chairperson of special sessions in more than 12 international conferences. His areas of interest are software-defined radio, cognitive radio, soft computing techniques, fuzzy system design. Along with all this, he's the head of training and placement cell for more than 11 years. He is also working as a head of local chapter of SWAM NPTEL. Career Guru of the Month by Aspiring Minds. This award to his credit. Again, NPTEL Enthusiastics by NPTEL IIT Madras for the year 2021. This award is also to his credit. Welcome, sir. Welcome to this FDP. We are quite fortunate that such an enthusiastic awarded person is with us. Welcome, sir. Now over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Pallavi, and I welcome Dr. Nikhil Mariwala for this session, Atal FDP, and I'm extremely sorry for participants due to these technical difficulties. You have to shift from WebEx to Google Meet. So I request all of you to leave from that WebEx. You are joining to this Google Meet, and once this session is over, once again, please leave from Google Meet and join to the WebEx. So a small trouble we are giving to you. And without wasting time, now it's 1:45. I request Mariwala sir to please continue. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much. Thank you, Raghuvar sir, for inviting me over, and thanks to ma'am for introducing me to the participants. I'm extremely sorry for the technical inconvenience that has been caused due to my incompetency of the system. So I'm very sorry to all the participants, and I hope that this thing I'll take care in future. The WebEx platform has switched over to different other things. So sorry for the inconvenience. I'll just straight away start with the presentation without taking much more time into this. So just kindly let me know, sir, if you're able to see my screen or not.
It is coming. It will come. It will come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So is it visible now, sir?
Whether PPT is there?
Sir, PPT I've just switched over.
Yeah. Now it is visible.
Great, sir. Great. So, sir, what I'll do is I'll switch off my video for some time because the bandwidth would be utilized effectively in that case, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So if there is any problem in between due to technical issues, kindly do let me know. Today, quickly, what I'll do is I'll just move to the topic that we had planned for, and I would hope that we will be able to complete this in the amount of time that we are left today. So we had to talk about IoT-based fuzzy system designer using the LabVIEW part, and in this case, the fuzzy system designer is the one that we will be referring or using through with the particular software called as LabVIEW. So I'll be introducing all of you with this software. I don't know how many of you are aware about this, but this particular software will be a graphical user interface programming. And while we are talking about the IoT part using with the fuzzy systems, I'll just try and highlight that first, and then we'll do the practical hands-on training or hands-on experience about how to design it, right? So in the beginning, that what we have is we have a quote from Albert Einstein. I hope everybody knows who Einstein was and what is the contribution of him. So a very interesting and important quote that he said was that as far as the laws of mathematics refer to reality, they are not certain, right? So very interesting word. And so far as they are certain, they do not refer to reality. So whenever we try and design any problem, whenever we try and formulate any mathematical expressions or try and resolve certain things, we are far from reality, right? And if we are near to the reality, that means we are working in the simulation environment, right? So mathematics is something which is bothering us each and every time. The laws do not allow us to come near to the reality part, but we are still trying to do that, and fuzzy logic systems are the ones which are helping us to understand and analyze this thing, right? So when we talk about fuzzy logic, Zadeh is one of the most important person that we should always remember while we are talking or while we are reading fuzzy systems, right? So what he said is, as complexity rises, precise statements lose meaning and meaningful statements lose precision. So very, very interesting. There's a very deep thought, right? I'll be taking this very quickly, but yes, a lot of discussion can be done on these lines. Both these quotes are very, very important when you start designing something. So that is why I've taken these things, right? So what he has said is that as you are increasing the complexity of a system, the preciseness or precise statements that you are talking about actually lose meaning, right? And when you are going to the meaningful statements, the precision of the system is lost. So how to make a balance between the two? This is what we'll try to learn today. So I'll not take much time with the outline part. I'll straight away move to the fuzzy logic based systems over here. The fuzzy logic based systems are the ones that we will be talking about today. How fuzzy logic system or fuzzy system designer will help us to identify the correct output from the complex non-linear input systems, right? So we'll try and read that. So what we have is this particular chart talks about a knowledge base, which is driven by rule base and database. The inputs are given. This is the input part. The inputs are given to the fuzzification module over here. The fuzzification module fuzzifies the inputs based on the membership functions that are decided. The fuzzified input is given to the inference engine over here, and the inference engine performs some manipulations over here. I'll tell you in detail how we'll do that. And lastly, the reverse of the fuzzification is done by the defuzzification module, and a crisp output is generated, right? So a crisp output comes or is generated by the system. So the input received is highly nonlinear in nature. It is highly complex. The system is also very complex, right? So these systems these inputs are fuzzified on the basis of different membership functions, and then the inference engine comes into picture, and the defuzzification module defuzzifies this. So this is a journal system, right? So what is being done? This is how it looks like. The fuzzifier is performing its action. The inference engine is performing its action. The defuzzifier is performing the action. The crisp output, once received, is connected with the control signals, and then the control system provides a feedback to the fuzzifier in this case. So knowledge base is very, very important in this, right? So how this knowledge base would come into picture and how this fuzzification module deals with us, I'll be trying to talk about a few things in this case. So fuzzification is what? It is a process of mapping of values in crisp sets to the values in fuzzy sets, right? So we will be talking about this term called as fuzzy sets here. So try and remember these words. I'll be just trying to show you in the software how these would be accommodated, right? So knowledge base, as I told you, was comprising of the rule base and the database over here. So what is rule base? Rule base is something that we normally talk. Say right now we were facing a technical glitch. So if say I'm using if here. If the WebEx would have worked, then we would not have shifted to the Google platform. If this would have happened, then this would have been the outcome, right? So we are talking about something in the form of linguistic variables, right? So the database basically is the one which provides us the linguistic control over here, right? This is the word which is used to define the linguistic control, and the fuzzy data manipulation in a fuzzy logic based systems is done basically or mainly based on these linguistic control variables, right? Rule base is taken from the domain expert. This is the word over here, domain expert, right? So you can call various experts who have delivered lecture in this particular FDP are the domain experts of IoT in that case, and their expertise can be taken into consideration or for help in designing a particular system, and that can be done in a very systematic and easy way. That is the linguistic manner, like we are talking right now. So whatever we are talking can be taken and described into mathematical functions, and then this can be analyzed by the system. This is what we'll be trying to learn today, right? So the inference engine, this is basically a module which is helping to decide or helping for or making sure for decision making capabilities, just as a human brain, right? So the module is helping us to decide on what decision has to be taken. Once the fuzzified inputs are received, the implication methods are performed, and all the brainy activities, right? The decision making activities are done in the inference engine part, right? So inference engine is doing what? It is aggregating all the outputs for the various rules which are fired into one function. I hope, sir, my voice is coming pretty much audible. There is no technical problem happening right now.
No, there is no technical problem. It is going smoothly.
Great, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So last module that we need to talk about is the defuzzification module. This defuzzification module is the one which is helping us to map and convert the range of the input values into output variables, right? So we are talking about a range of values of output variables to be described in the defuzzification module. There are 5 types of defuzzification techniques that we'll be referring to. The defuzzification is the one which is performing or transforming the fuzzy output to a crisp output. This is what I had written earlier. We need to understand this word crisp output is the one that we are talking about here. These are the techniques: the center of gravity, the center of sums, the height of defuzzification, center of largest area, and the min-max approach, right? So we can select either of these. So these will help us defuzzify the input part, and this is how the system would look like. If you see over here, we have the inputs which are fuzzified. The membership functions have to be given in this case. We apply the fuzzy operator here, and then the implication method is given. Once the method is applied, the aggregation of all the inputs received is done, and then the defuzzification is done, and the output is, again, I can write it over here, crisp output that is generated. So this is just a flow diagram that we need to understand. Now, though it might be looking a little difficult to you, when we'll just design it right now, all these things would be covered in this this fashion itself, right? So this is how internally it would look like. Just have a look. Say we have temperature as an input, or a derivative, or some of the derivative inputs are also given, right? The inputs are given to a fuzzification module over here. The fuzzification module decides upon the membership function, that is Z type, triangular type, or sigma type, right? Whatever has to be selected. Once these membership functions have been decided, the input is given to the composition module, where we decide about operator. We decide about both the things, right? The manipulations are done. Then it is given to implication module, where you again perform some manipulation. Again, the brain concept, or the say similarly to a processing unit, where all the processing is done, the implication is done, and lastly the aggregation part, that is the maximum or the minimum part, is taken. Once this is performed, once this entire process is performed inside, the last process is defuzzification. Out of all the 5 techniques that I've given you, the defuzzification is performed, and a crisp output is generated, which will be the actual output required for the inputs that we are giving, right? So what we are trying to talk about now, you can give some examples to this. So these are some of the advantages. So I'll just quickly go through them. That fuzzy logic is talking about ill-defined system. We're talking about dealing with imprecise knowledge. We're talking about incomplete information, dealing with ambiguity of concepts, or complex and highly non-linear systems, right? So fuzzy logic is the one which is helping you to define all these systems which are lying under these categories, right? So if you see, we are talking about systems which are actually which could not have been easily solved. Ill-defined systems or non-linear systems, right? So how to deal with these kind of systems? So we already knew 0 or 1, the binary language that we have been talking about, but we never knew about 0.1, 0.2, or 0.3, or say 0.4. If intermediate values come, then what happens? Then how the system would behave, or whether the system would consider them or not, right? So fuzzy logic based systems are definitely considering these intermediate values also, and they're helping us resolve things in linguistic expressions. So this is the important part, right? So today the software that I'll show you would actually have no programming involved. The beauty about it is that we won't write a single code. I'll just use the block configurations and we'll resolve the problem, right? So, hello? Yes, sir. Anything? Any inputs?
No, nothing, sir. Please continue.
Okay, sir. Okay. So this is the block diagram, and we will be referring to a highly non-linear and complex system called as greenhouse today. I'll show you how this model would work, and we'll define and design this model on our own, right? So greenhouse is basically a very highly complex and non-linear system. I don't know how many of you known this structure, but I'll give you a few features and then we'll talk about it. This block diagram talks about that we have to control this environment, the artificially controlled environment where plants are grown, right? So several sensors are involved. Now, how IoT is linked with this, I'm trying to give you that idea, right? So several sensors are involved in this case. So these sensors are basically helping us in analyzing the inputs. So for example, in that case, the sensors can be temperature sensor, it can be a humidity measurement sensor, it can be a solar radiation measurement sensor, it can be a CO2 level measurement sensor, whatever you want to do, right? So these are some of the sensors which are measuring some inputs, taking inputs, and then what happens is the input data is given to the fuzzy logic controller that we will design, right? And then the data is processed and the crisp output is generated. So the three steps that I gave you, major three steps: fuzzification of the system, implementation of the linguistic control strategy, and the defuzzification part. We will be performing this and we'll be analyzing how our system is, a system would actually behave or perform under different conditions, right? So we will be looking into that. There are some external changes also which can be considered over here. Now, how IoT comes into picture and how Internet of Things can help resolve these things, I'll show you a very interesting diagram over here. So I've already given you what we'll be talking about. We'll be talking about a designing of a dynamic greenhouse controller, right? Which is based on the fuzzy logic system. So we'll be discussing them. The three inputs that we'll take into consideration are temperature, humidity, solar radiation over here, and they are controlling the water sprinkler and the electric roof of a greenhouse, right? So this is what has to be controlled by the fuzzy logic controller. Okay, so in earlier days, in the greenhouse systems, the greenhouse structure, everything, all the actuators, that is the actuators that I just named, actuators such as water sprinkler and electric roof. Now these actuators are basically being controlled by normal on-off controllers. So person is sitting, he gets some information or he sees the weather, and on-off controller performs the action. Takes time, right? If the person gets sleepy, he sleeps on in the night, the rain comes and the crop gets damaged, or the temperature rises, the crop growth gets damaged. So these are the things which we want to avoid, and artificially we want to make this intelligent enough so that even if there is nobody, the sensors are connected in a particular loop and the actuators perform the necessary action, right? So how to do this? So greenhouse, basically, again, I've already given you this, that it is a structure, enclosed structure, which is designed to grow plants on the basis of the enhanced growth of plants, basically. So how the plant growth is, what are the factors affecting the growth of the plant? We already know them. Light intensity for photosynthesis, temperature for enzyme. Now, when I talk about light intensity, I'm talking about solar radiation coming inside, right? I can just write it down. Solar radiation. Temperature for enzymes and humidity. Yes, we will be taking this into consideration. Temperature, we will be taking the third factor. The amount of carbon dioxide, yes, very, very important for any plant to grow. Air movement inside it, water and nutrients. So everything that you're talking about is basically affecting the growth of the plant. And this is very highly non-linear structure, right? Non-linear as well as highly complex. So see the things that are involved over here. So when we talk about this kind of a scenario, and we are trying to, we want that this particular problem should be resolved amicably and easily. How to do that? So we'll just see this situation, right? So greenhouse basically will be the solution to provide a growth of plants effectively. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly move to this particular diagram over here. You can see this. Now this is where IoT or Internet of Things is coming into picture, right? So what is this particular slide describing? Have a look over this. We have some sensors. Say this is the cluster head of that particular sensor, and these are different sensors which are providing information to this sensor. These sensors or these clusters are basically connected together. They are providing information to the base station. The measurement of temperature. Say these days you've normally seen warnings coming for storms. Now how are we getting them? Through satellites or through different sensors that are being placed in the ocean somewhere around. We are even getting some inputs of the change in weather conditions, change in temperature, analyzing it through the base station. Similarly, we have placed some sensors somewhere in a particular area. These are clusters of sensors. They are providing information to this base station. The base station thus transfers the information to the monitoring station. Now, this is important. The monitoring station is the one where all the data from different base stations is collected. Now, the data is collected and processed. This processed data is then forwarded or then sent back to different fields or different concerned people, so that the action can be taken well within time, and there is no harm to the environment, no harm to the crop, or no harm to the situation where we are actually, right? So say, for example, if an earthquake is to arrive and we are told even a minute before that, a lot of lives can be saved, a lot of things can be saved. Even seconds before an earthquake can also help us out, right? Or even warnings of storms these days are preventing loss of life. So Internet of Things is playing a huge role in this. IoT systems are basically ones where we transfer the information these days onto cloud. Right? Now the cloud systems are the ones which are gathering the information, and that can be made public or even private for you to actually see the data being driven, and you can use that, right? So the same thing can be done for the COVID data, the same thing can be done for temperature measurement, any type of measurement, right? So Internet of Things is playing a huge role in this. And if say different greenhouse structures are connected together with the sensors can provide a huge amount of information for the other blocks also, right? So this is the basis of what we are trying to do today. What we'll do is we'll design a greenhouse model in LabVIEW over here. We'll design the control system for the greenhouse environment in Fuzzy System Designer, implement a fuzzy controller in the greenhouse. We'll simulate this design and see the optimized output results, right? So how would it look like? This would look like this structure. We'll design this, right? So what sir, I hope my screen is visible and this is basically audible to you. I hope I'm audible.
You are audible, sir. You are
Everybody?
audible. You are audible, sir.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So what we'll be doing is we'll be making use of this software called as LabVIEW. So again, what I can do is I can first show you from where you can get this. So what you need to do is you need to visit a website called as ni.com. This is called as National Instruments, and this is one of the most advanced softwares that you can get, right? So you can go to products, software, and this is the one, LabVIEW, right? So it will open the products part, LabVIEW. You can click onto it, you can download it and install it. Though it is not freely available, but it is the trial versions are available over here. So when you click onto this, it will ask you what Windows or what operating system you are using, right? So you can click onto this start free trial, select your edition, and then you can download it. So I've already got it installed for you people. So this is the website again. Now, for the benefit of everybody, those who are new to this particular software part, they can download it and install it in their own on their own systems, and then they can work with it, right? So what we can do is we can directly go to this particular part. So I'm using a LabVIEW version of 2013. So this is the window that would appear to you. These are toolkits, as you can see, right? Toolkits installed. So once you run this, so you'll see this kind of a window appearing in front of you. Now, this window basically you have to go to new VI. In the meantime, can I ask a question to all the participants before I start explaining this? Anybody who is familiar with this environment, this LabVIEW environment? Anyone? Anyone who is familiar with this environment?
Participants can unmute them and they can speak.
Yes. They can unmute or they can even type in the chat box. I can read that.
No, sir.
Okay. Nobody knows
Yes,
this.
sir. Yes, sir. Familiar with the MATLAB, sir. This is
You're
Dr.
familiar with the
Varora.
MATLAB. Okay. But
Yes,
you're not
sir.
familiar with the LabVIEW part.
Yes, sir. Familiar
So
with
today-
LabVIEW also, but I didn't use Fuzzy for doing experiment in the lab.
Okay. Fine enough. So a few people are still knowing it, but nevertheless, this is a new platform. The interesting part about this platform is that we will not write any codes in this. We will be performing graphical user interface or graphical programming. So what you need to do is you need to go to File and click onto this new VI, or the shortcut is Control+N. Anything you can do. So you'll see two windows appearing in front of you. Control-T, and both the windows are simultaneously in front of your screen. So one is front panel, another one is block diagram. Now, front panel and block diagram, these are the two things that we are to use as far as software LabVIEW is concerned. Front panel talks about the things which you can see. Say, for example, a thermometer, right? So it is producing some output. I can extend it. You can see this, right? Or say, for example, a vertical pointer for me. Right. For example, a waveform graph for me, which will plot something, a LED for me, right? So I can just change the size. So these are things which are helping you to represent some things, right? So whenever I'm placing something here, you see an icon coming into the block diagram configuration also. You can see the icons, right? Everybody can see this. So whatever you place here, the icons will be placed in the block diagram window. So this is the back-end programming part, and this is the front end. So that is why it is called as front panel, and this is called as block diagram. So we are not writing any codes in this, but we'll still program this, and we'll see how easy it would be for us to design complex problems. So what I've done is I've just removed the things, and I'll show you a very interesting aspect. I'll make this 200. This is already 200, so I'll make it 200 over here. So thermometer and a slider, right? A very simple thing. Let's see how this works. A very simple program. I'll just go to the block diagram configuration over here, right? And I'll connect this slider with the thermometer. Very simple. I just connected it. So when I move my mouse pointer over here, the wire comes and I connect them, right? simple part is that I need to run this. Say I move the slider to 80 and then I run this. So you will see the temperature changing, right? I run this again, lower the temperature is changing, right? So this is very simple thing. Now, another interesting aspect to this is I'm just showing you how to work with it so that you are able to work with it on not only use the fuzzy logic part but work with the other aspects also. So let's just delete this wire over here and place some components, numeric components, something numeric part, a multiplier, a subtractor. What I'll do is I'll just place something, right? A divider. So I place certain components, right click, numeric, and you see, right? So what I'm trying to show by this is I'm just connecting them together and implementing some mathematical function inside this, right? So right click onto this, create a constant. Right click onto this, create another constant. Again, right click onto the other input parameter, create another constant. So these are some of the constants. So I can give some values to them. Say some random values, 5, 9, 32 for me, right? Some mathematical functions have been implemented. And now when I run this, the output will be according to that. You can see, very well see that. Some mathematical output is being performed, the function is working accordingly, right? I can replace this also, right? So just right click onto this, go here, replace numeric palette, say with a multiplier, right? You can see this now. It is performing some mathematical function over here. Now, again, I have not written anything, but I'm using the block diagram. Now, what you are witnessing is that each time I have to press this run. So those who are familiar with some basic programming idea, what I can use is I can use a while loop. I can use a while loop. Again, I'll do that for you. Right click, structures, while loop. I go here and create a control for me. So stop button comes over here now. I can just expand this. Now when I run this, it will keep on running continuously. You can see this now. I hope everybody can see this. So you can change the mathematical function. Say I thought that now do something more, right? Let's insert another numeric function, right? And then I'm just removing this, right? Let's just insert another numeric function inside it and then let's process this. Right, so anything that comes to your mind can be implemented there and then only. Very simple thing. Again, I've just shown you a very simple example to make sure that everybody understands. There is one more interesting thing in this software. It is called as highlight execution. I'm just introducing it so that everybody is familiar with the environment that you are working with. Now, when I press this highlight execution, I hope everybody is able to see some data flowing inside this. I hope everybody is able to see this. The data is flowing inside the circuit, right? And the values, output values that you see after each node. So now when I change this, there will not be a drastic, the change will be, it will take some time because data is flowing inside and it takes some time to reach the output, right? So earlier it was very frequent, right? So if I stop this highlight execution, the again change would be very fast, right? So these are some of the good features about this software. Again, I don't have to write any program. I don't know which field you belong to, but right now have a look over the screen that I'm trying to show you. If you belong to, say, I start with vision and motion toolbox, you belong to some mechanical engineering, right? So vision and motion toolbox, entire vision and motion toolbox is present in this. It can be used by the computer science engineers also while they are working with vision aspects, right? Say you are working in mathematical field, so mathematics toolkit is present. Signal processing, a very huge signal processing toolkit is there. Data communication for transfer of data, we'll just see and use some of the aspects here also, right? Data communication, connectivity toolkit, control design and simulation. We'll be using this, the fuzzy logic, right? Here it is, fuzzy logic. So fuzzy logic, PID, simulation, etc. Signal express. Say you are working in robotics, so you are able to see robotics. A KUKA YoBot robotic toolkit is also there, right? Biomedical signal processing toolkit. What I'll do, I'll just move this up so that everybody is able to see this. So biomedical signal processing and electrical power, NXT robotics, RF communication, sound and vibration. You talk about any toolkit, all the toolkits are present in this structure, right? Right now, I'm using a very older version. While you visit this page, you'll see huge toolkits are there. Many toolkits have been changed, right? And these toolkits, you can definitely find and install in your system, right? So this particular software, irrespective of any field you're working with, irrespective, again I repeat, irrespective of any field you're working with, all the toolkits are present. They have a neural network toolkit, they have an IoT toolkit, they have an artificial intelligence toolkit, right? So even the Xilinx part can be worked through that, right? So whatever toolkits you want to download, you can just search from that. And when you write toolkits, so it will show you some page and then you can download them, right? So again, depends on the version that we are using. So all the toolkits, so here these are LabVIEW 2020 toolkits, and say I want only the products. So now it will show me the products, right? So you can download them. So electrical power software platform bundle, the entire bundle is there, which downloads everything for you, right? So you name any field, again I'm repeating, all the toolkits are actually present over here. The IoT toolkit, the artificial intelligence toolkit, and others are also available, right? So now let's move on because our aim was something else. We were talking about designing of a greenhouse controller using the fuzzy logic structure, and we have to design a fuzzy system. So though you are not even familiar with this, it will be very easy for you. Most of you must have used MATLAB also. It is a pretty decent environment. The point that we would work with now is how to use this fuzzy logic toolkit and how to implement the project in this, right? So what you need to do is you need to go to this point called as tools, click onto tools, control design and simulation, and click onto fuzzy system designer. This is the one. So when I click onto this, you'll see a block opening in front of you, a fuzzy system designer block coming in front of you. Right. So this is the one, the fuzzy system designer. You have rules and you have test systems, right? So I'll tell you all the steps how this fuzzy system designer will help us design the complex greenhouse controller for us, and then we'll implement this controller into the circuit, right? So the very first thing is we have to decide about the input and output variables. Now when you talk about input and output variables, we are talking about, or we are referring to the things that we decided in the PowerPoint slide. So the very first input variable should be temperature, right? So say I have taken it from -10 itself to say 60 degrees. So extreme conditions I'm taking, right? Rough data, again, very rough data. Plus second input, humidity. So let's take humidity from 0 to 100, right? Again, just a rough information. Add the third part, solar radiation. Now this is the third input parameter that we want, right? Solar radiation. So temperature, humidity, solar radiation, the input variables. The output variables that we want to control are the electric roof, right? Again, you can take any values that you want, say 0 to 100. Again, I've taken the output of electric roof, and water sprinkler. Now these are two very, very important aspects for a greenhouse structure. We've just seen them, right? So I've just taken some random values for their range. Now, once the input and output variables have been decided, the next part is to decide about the input variable membership functions. So now how to do that? So click onto temperature and go here, add membership function. So membership function would appear. So say temperature is very hot for me. Linguistic word, very hot. These are the shapes that you can decide: Gaussian, sigmoid, singleton, trapezoidal, triangular. You can use any of these shapes, right? Again, it depends on the type of data that is coming to you, that data analyst would tell you, and that is what I was talking about, the knowledge base, right? So say I've selected a shape of triangular function. You can talk about any of the Sugino models or Mamdani models. We are referring to designing based on the Sugino part, right? So triangular function, and then I change this color, and I give very hot is the range. So I'm taking 50 and 40 as the value. Just again a rough information. I want another membership function to be added. So add, press this key, add, and I mention hot now, hot. So say a trapezoidal function I take. Okay. So hot is, say this, 35 for me, 30. Again a rough range, right? This is hot. Again, moderate. So temperature is moderate for me now. Let's change the color so that they look differently. Yes, 25 would be fine, and 35 would also work, and say 15. So again, these are some random values. Again, see, right? Add cold. Temperature is very, it is cold for me now. -10, 0, 10, or say 15 would also work for cold for me, right? Even 20 can be treated as cold, right? I can change this value also. So you can see, you can change the things accordingly, right? Now what you see is temperature with 4 membership functions as very hot, hot, moderate, and cold. Now you see this, the pointer that I'm pointing towards, right? You can see this. Now the next part is humidity. Again, we have to do the same thing for humidity. It is, so humidity is either wet, normal, or dry. Even very wet, I can take very wet. Again, I'm just talking and I'm using them, right? 100, 90, and an 80. Just a rough idea. Very wet. Wet. Now what would be wet? The next part. I'm adding this value. Wet. Again, say I take a Gaussian function for this, right? $95 and 85, 75 value, 60 value. Again, just a rough idea. Moderate, or say medium. I can write it as medium humidity, right? 40, 50, 70. Again, whatever you wish to do, right? Even I can, yes, this would be fine. And dry, let's take a triangular function only. Dry humidity. So 20 and a 45 would do for me, right? So these are the functions. Temperature, humidity have been decided. The membership functions have been given. Solar radiation is the third input variable. Solar radiation, add to that. The solar radiation is what? High, medium, dark, right? So solar radiation is very high. Just again, a term for that. It is high, then 100, 90, even 70 can be treated as very high. So these again the units may be decided. Somewhere you'll see the range from 0 to 14,000 lumens, right? So that again depends on the data that we're talking about, right? High, moderate value of the solar radiation. Again, say I take the triangular function itself, change the color to that. 80, 70, and 50 for me, right? I take this value. Dark, right? Dark is the one. So say I take this color now. 20, 40, and 60 can be termed as dark for me, very dark. So the radiation is not coming at all. So 0, 10, 30, very dark. So these are some rough values again. So temperature, humidity, solar radiation, we have already given the membership functions. The fuzzification inputs have been given to that, right? Output variables now need to be decided. What will be the output membership functions in that case, right? So electric roof. So electric roof is the one that you need to control with the on-off controller. Now what we want is we want to control it through fuzzy system. So let's see, electric roof. Open, closed, semi-closed, right? So open, let's say it is open first. 100, 80, and a 70, just a rough value. Semi-closed is the one that we are talking about over here. Semi-closed. Let's keep it black only. So 80, 60, and a 40 is semi-closed for me. Closed. So let's start from its value itself, 0, 20, and 40. Or say I take an intermediate value for you, right? So this is the membership function for electric roof. It has come over here. You can see this. It is coming up. Water sprinkler. Now again, water sprinkler. So whatever I'm talking about over here is we have already decided this, right? So we have decided so how this would be done, and we'll try and formulate this. Again, going back to water sprinkler. So what should be the values for water sprinkler, or what should be the linguistic functions for water sprinkler? You can see this in this chart also, right? Moderate, more, less, whatever you want to talk about, right? So say we start with more. Oh, sorry, we start with more, so we would want this to be open, right? More, moderate. Let's keep it from 20. Again, these are some rough values that I'm taking. These are not the measured values. The measured values will come directly from the sensor, right? Let's So 50, 70. Now we have just taken some values, right? So even I can. There is no harm. Yes, so we have decided some values for water sprinkler, electric roof, the membership function, sorry, and then the membership function for temperature, humidity, and solar radiation. I hope everybody has followed these steps. Now you can even change them, you can even edit them, you can even delete them, whatever you want to do, right? So these are the functions over here: edit, delete, select and delete, right? Select and edit. You can even go inside and say, this is the function that you are having. You go here and you pull it, right? So by pulling the points also, the values can move. Now intermediate values can also come, right? So you can see this intermediate value. How fuzzy system would behave for an intermediate value? This is what we want to understand, right? Say again, I go here and I'm dragging this, right? Now I select this value, some intermediate values coming for me, right? I select this value again, say an intermediate value for this. So I made all the values as intermediate now for you. You can change them also, right? You can change it. So everything can be done over here. So how fuzzy systems are behaving? Yes, sir. So I hope everybody has followed this. Any doubts up till this point? Kindly just do let me know. I'll move back to the screen. So I hope there are no doubts up till here. You can even switch on your mics and talk to me directly as far as this class is concerned. So nevertheless, we move ahead. If there are no doubts, I can move ahead. Sir, no doubts with anybody?
Sir, could you share the rule base for that rule chart once?
Madam,
Please.
what could I share?
In the PPT, there is, I think it's slide number 31, sir.
Slide number 31, you are talking about this, right?
Rule chart, yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, yes, I'll definitely share the entire PPT with you. Don't worry about that. I'll share with sir, and he'll forward you, right? Don't worry about those things. So right now I'm trying to tell you that how I have taken some random data and I'm trying to use the fuzzy logic control for that, right? So the next part is, this is fuzzy system designer that we are talking about over here. And the next part is, we have already decided the input variables and output variables and membership functions for the same. Now we move ahead and go to this window called as rules. Now this is the important part over here. If you see this window, you have certain ways. How to decide about rules. Now this is if then else statement to be utilized, right? Add rule. Now when I move my cursor to this and press this, so if temperature is very hot, electric roof is open. Everybody agrees with this. There is no problem. But where are the other antecedents? They are not available right now. How to enable them? Click onto this point, change it to humidity, change it to solar radiation. Everything comes. The temperature is hot, humidity is dry, solar radiation is high. Then what happens? Again, consequent. Antecedents are temperature, humidity, and solar radiation. What are the consequences? Water sprinkler. Electric roof is open and water sprinkler is also more. I just decided on my general knowledge base. I can formulate hundreds and thousands of these rules. There is no limit to that. But now, because this is my knowledge base that I'm utilizing, the system doesn't become intelligent accordingly, right? So what needs to be done? What should I do? You can make any n number of rules in this, right? There is no limit to that. I'm just deleting them. Say again, I've added certain rules. I want that system should itself generate the rules for me intelligently. So this is the one which makes it different than the other systems, right? So what we'll do is we'll clear all the rules. First, clear all the rules. Go to operate and click onto pre-generate rules. When you click onto this, it will tell you now 64 rules will be generated for 3 input variables. See, in my slide I have only generated 27. I've used just three variables. Now here I've used more variables. Just I thought I've used that. So 64 rules, you can see this. 64 rules will be generated for the 3 input variables, and all the previously rules will generated rules will be cleared. We've already deleted them, no problems. Antecedents can be connected either by min or max, that is and or. Consequence, again min or product. So this is what I was showing you in the slide part. Now you need to select them again on the basis of knowledge that you have or the expert domain knowledge, right? You click OK to this and see 67 rules or 64 rules have been generated automatically and intelligently. You can read them. If temperature is very hot, humidity is very wet, solar radiation is high, electric roof is open, water sprinkler is more, you can just go out and read them. Right? So all the possible combinations have been generated by the system on its own. Now, the third important part was to select the defuzzification method. The defuzzification method is either of these 5: center of area, modified center of area, center of sums, center of maximum, mean of maximum. Again, these are mathematical models. You can select either of these, right? I have selected center of area. I go to the test system. Now here you see the output variable, right? You see the 3 inputs: temperature, humidity, solar radiation. The output variables is electric roof and water sprinkler. Everything is 0, output is also 0. Now, how can you change them? Yes, I'll just change it for you, right? So what you can do is, you can change the values over here. You will see some rules being fired below, right? You can see very well see the 3D chart. I hope everybody is able to see this, right? So if I change the values, the fired rules are coming here, and the output variable of water sprinkler is also changing accordingly. You can see this, right? You can very well see this. Yes, all the rules are changing once the temperature is changing, right? So similarly, you are able to see the outputs. I hope you are following what we have said, right? So the rules which are fired are placed here, the weights are placed here, and this is how the system would actually work for you. Now this is that easy. We just decided on our own. If this is this, then this is this, then what happens, right? So if then else, and everything is worked for us, right? So the values, variables, rules, and test system, right? These are the 3 things. Now I'll just move back to the PPT and talk about how this system can be implemented here. Now this is what we are trying to show. The fuzzy control. This is the one that we have decided. 3 inputs: temperature, humidity, solar radiation. 2 outputs: electric roof and water sprinkler. I'll show you because not much time left with us, so I'll show you the direct VI over here. And this is how it looks like, right? In fact, I'll just open it from here also. There are 2 things. One is real-time monitoring, another one is the one that is being controlled by vVehicle, right? So this is the fuzzy logic controller. This is here you see 2 inputs: temperature, humidity, and 2 outputs. This is one model, and this is the other model where you see 3 inputs. Now this is real time. Again, I repeat, I'll show you how I am doing it, right? With the help of a camera, I'll show you how we are utilizing this. So let's just first run the first module over here. You can see this. I hope everybody is able to see the screen. There is no problem here. So when I press this run button, you'll see, say for example, we are in summer season, temperature is soaring to 30 to 33, humidity has fallen. Do you see the change happening in electric roof and water spill? Do you see the changes? Humidity is constantly varying, so the change is happening. Temperature has further increased, humidity has also increased, and if it is reduced, then water spills should open, yes. Temperature has fallen down drastically. In summers only I'm talking about, right? Then what happens? So you're able to see this. Season changes, output changes, output also changes with the input. I hope everybody is able to see this. Are you able to see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, right. So this is actually happening in front of us. So we can very well recognize, yes, practically this can happen. Now, because this is what I'm controlling. I am controlling, right? The input variables. Now, if they are controlled by, say, and I'll switch on my camera first. This is the, I'll just open it. Now, I don't know if you're able to see this. Now, this is the IoT device that I'm using. Temperature sensor over here, right? And a humidity sensor over here, right? This has been connected. Now, you can see this. This is the IoT device. Right now, one of the humidity sensors is not actually working properly, but yes, I'll show you the data collected first in the cloud and then provided to the system, right? So I'll go to the cloud system here. IoT Logic is the cloud that I am using right now. You can use any of the clouds available. You can even use the cloud provided by MATLAB. I don't know how many of you are using it. You're using MATLAB? How many of you are using MATLAB?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have used
So
MATLAB.
MATLAB has provided free access to cloud named as ThinkSpeak. I don't know how many of you are using that. And you're able to see this. This is the IoT device that I'm using for transfer of my data in real time to the cloud. IoT Logic is the cloud over here. And I've made my account and it will now recognize my device. So if you see, the humidity is not actually coming, but temperature is definitely coming, right? So I'll just change this. It's right not showing me the room temperature, right? So let me just first, I forgot to connect this device with my system. So now it is connected and you can see the LED light also glowing. I hope everybody can see this now, right? You can see the LED glowing over here, and this is the device that we are talking about. So now, yes, it is connected, and you can see some variation. You'll see some variation when I try and change the temperature. Are you able to see? There is some movement happening.
Yes, yes, yes.
And the chart would also start plotting. If I put it near the fan of my laptop, it will change effectively. Right. So I've just placed it on my fan, near my fan of the laptop, because heat is being generated. Right. You can see the temperature raising. This is in real time happening. Right. So the temperature has increased. Now I just move it away from that. So this is in the cloud. that we are getting the temperature. Now this temperature can be stored, and this can be utilized after some time, right? So there is some problem in this humidity sensor, so it is not actually providing me the output right now. I'll have to check it again. There is some connection break that has happened, but yes, you have definitely seen the temperature part changing, right? So now we'll use this data in real time in the system. Again, the humidity part is not actually working, but still there will be some input received, right? So you can see this, the temperature and the humidity. It is showing some data over here. The solar radiation, I have not connected any sensor. I'm just controlling it on my own over here. So you can see the values. I hope you can still see the change, though it is not that drastic, but yes, in real time, this is how it would work, right? I hope you're able to see this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, great then. So what I'll do is I'll just finish out the presentation. The last of the presentation part left. So we've just seen this model, and I'm just disconnecting it right now so that all the ports are utilized. That is the difficult part. So this is the chart. Again, you can make your own chart for all the inputs that you have, and then you can work with the this particular system over here. So yes, humidity is as far as humidity is concerned, it is dry chart for this. If humidity is normal, then what is the output, and humidity is wet. You can take for any you can take for electric roof also, right? So this is the matrix arrangement, and then very less open, very less semi-closed, anything can be formulated. So this is what I showed you. Temperature, humidity, solar radiation, electric roof, water sprinkler. I've changed some things over here, right? We gave the membership functions, decided about the rules, decided about this defuzzification method, and then the output, right? The implementation in the LabVIEW part. I can show you the result also. Just give me a second. The input output results are also shown, right? So you can plot them very easily. We can plot them over. So they are being plotted, right? So the results that we see here are basically very encouraging. Why I say they are very encouraging? Have a look over this data. The output of water sprinkler with on-off controller was 82.15 in all the seasons, whereas it has reduced to 39.8 in different seasons now. You can see this, even at 33.51 at some point in monsoon, right? Similarly, electric roof, the water, the power consumption has reduced to 13.02, and in monsoon it has reduced to 0.84, right? So earlier it was around say 40%. So have a look in the reduction of the power required for working out these on through fuzzy logic control, right? So this is the best part here that we have seen. Future work, yes, you can implement a lot of things. You can implement a PID controller for it. You can implement a ZigBee network for that, right? So whatever you want to do, there are so many things available. Now, if there are any queries, you're most welcome. I hope, sir, I was able to explain the things effectively to you. And so now I would just love to ask if there are any queries from your side.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Nice presentation and nice demonstration as well as actual hands-on. Participants, you can unmute and you can ask, or you can write in chat box.
Yes, yes, sir. It was a very nice presentation. how these IoT is connected with the input parameters, sir?
No, sir.
IoT live data.
IoT is not connected. What I'm trying to show you by this is that we are using IoT to transfer the information to the cloud. This was the cloud. You get this?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and now
Okay.
from the cloud, you can gather the data or input the data into the LabVIEW part. There is that system also, right? There are few more clouds from where you can gather the information, though I have not taken it real time right now. I've just gathered the old data and I'm using it. So what I'm doing is I'm transferring the information, transferring the data from the sensors to the cloud.
The live whether we can whether it is feasible to give a live dynamic feed into these fuzzy systems, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. This is the advantage of LabVIEW. But you have to use some hardware specially designed for that. So National Instruments is providing the hardware also, and you can do it in real time. I am using it for communication field where I send the message in real time, and I receive it, and I see the constellation as well as the errors in that. So the hardware that I'm using for that is USRP. That is even compatible with MATLAB also.
Okay. Sir, any detailed procedure is available for selecting appropriate defuzzification method, sir?
No. That is again that is what I showed you in the very first slide. That it depends on the knowledge base that you have, right? So you have to find out you have to very meticulously read the literature, understand the problem, and then the fuzzy logic would behave very effectively for you. Like if I'm doing it randomly, the output will still be there, but it may not be the correct output.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Since I am using MATLAB 2013 version, it doesn't have any rule creation option.
Yes,
we need to build our own fuzzy rule-based system there in MATLAB. But
You're
it
right.
has LabVIEW. But LabVIEW has the own system for building the fuzzy rule-based.
Yes.
It was.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I'll tell you one more interesting thing in this. If you are working in MATLAB, I'll just stop this. If you're working in MATLAB also, let me just show you. Control T. Go to structures. You have a math script over here. Can you see this? You can write your own MATLAB code inside this and run this. It will run similarly.
Oh, it is so fine, sir. So fine. Since we belongs to a mechanical engineer, we doesn't have much knowledge or writing the codes. In MATLAB also we are doing
that is what
GUI. GUI. We are using GUI.
Okay. You're using Simulink in that case, right?
Yes, sir. Simulink. Yes.
So again, that is what I was. If somebody is doing MATLAB programming also, the entire MATLAB code can be written in this, and then the same output can be produced. I can show you an example over here. If I go to this and I write MATLAB, yes, now this is MATLAB over here. Yes, this is the code. I can open this. Now when I run this again, there's some error showing right now. Okay, so right now I don't have the MATLAB installed in this, right? So that is why it is not showing, but you can run the code, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, sir. Welcome. Anything else?
I think Ashok Dargar, he want to ask something. Dr. Ashok Dargar.
Please.
He has raised his hand. Yeah, I think he is not audible, or maybe by mistake he has raised his hand.
Maybe, sir.
Yeah, any other questions are there? Because in chat box it is nothing.
Yeah, nothing
I
there,
hope,
sir.
yeah, participants might have enjoyed this live session.
I hope so, sir. I am very sorry for the earlier hiccup that happened. I was very depressed that
No,
I
no,
will not be able to show the things. So,
no, but
nevertheless, thank you very much
yeah,
for shifting the platform, sir.
sometimes it happens in online. We are also learning, and we are also getting solutions very fast.
That's great. That's great, sir. So nice of you to have shifted over. Thank you very much, sir.
So, on behalf of participants and Department of Civil Engineering, Government College of Engineering, Aurangabad, Maharashtra, I really thanks Dr. Nikhil Mariwala. Actually, we today first time we are seeing each other's face.
Yes, sir.
Through email, we have some communication, and we come across his expertise. And I requested him to share his knowledge in LabVIEW to the participants. And thank you very much. Definitely, we will like to hear you in future also. Thank you very much, sir.
Sir, thank you very much.
And
And, I'm
yeah,
very glad and thankful to you for having invited me to your program. It has been a wonderful experience interacting with you. Yes, you're right. We have been seeing each other for the first time. So thank you very much, sir. Even we didn't knew each other, you invited me, so that's great. Thanks a lot.
yeah, thank you very much, sir. For participants, now one more request. Please, you log out from this after this session, and please join to WebEx once again, because the next session that will be as usual on WebEx, because the other experts, they are joining on WebEx. So now we will end this session, and please log out and join to that WebEx. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.